Politicians in Washington usually have long hours, but today it's a marathon. Today it's known as a vote-a-rama. I'm Aaron Nolan. Thank you so much for choosing News Nation Now and the News Nation Facebook page. Joining me now is Kelly Meyer, a Washington, D.C. reporter. Kelly, first off, in layman's terms, what in the world is a vote-a-rama?
And I feel like it sounds cooler than it may actually be. When you say Votorama, it makes it sound like this is going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought we were going to the circus or maybe to the fair, play some games. Not sure if that's the case.
I bet the senators were hoping that would be what would be happening on the floor, but really what's happening is it's basically a free for all of amendments that are going to be thrown out there that both sides are going to put forward and then they're going to vote on. And it's a special procedure that happens with this particular process that Democrats are using to push through the COVID aid package, potentially without Republican support if necessary. That's what you're seeing. So many of the Republicans are almost united against President Joe Biden's COVID aid package. So they are going to use this time to present as many amendments as possible, maybe to get their opponents on the record on some things and have those gotcha moments. One senator he says, as many as 100 amendments in the hopper. So, like you said, this could go on for seemingly endless amount of time until they get tired of it. But that is the process that they have to go through in order to get to passage of this COVID aid package.
Right now, that's the big news, is getting the stimulus plan passed. We just listened to Jen Psaki, the White House press secretary, talk about the importance for President Biden getting this passed. Do we expect that these votes will be done today to then send back to the House before before the Congress comes together so they can get it to President Biden's desk?
That's the big question. And it really just depends on how long these amendments take. And if what's happening right now is any indication, then it's going to be a while because they are still delayed on any type of voting, and they have been for at least the past hour. They did take this vote on the $15 minimum wage hike. That did not get the votes it needed to pass. It was 42 to 58. They needed 60 votes to pass that. So they've been, as we're hearing, on and off the floor in discussions amongst each other about what's next. So if that's any indication, we are going to be here through the weekend. We are preparing to be here through the weekend and be watching this. And but some senators have told me that this could end maybe Saturday or Sunday, then go to the House, and then maybe end up at President Biden's desk as early as mid next week.
All right, so COVID relief is one big thing, but you just mentioned minimum wage, the thought process to increase that to $15 an hour. That did not pass. What was the sentiment with that, as you had several Democrats who voted against this as well?
Yeah, it's true. There were several Democrats who didn't vote in support of this. Republicans were, I believe, united against this in the sense they feel that this will cost jobs rather than help create jobs during this time. And I'm still hearing some reporting on why exactly the Democrats that voted against it felt they needed to vote against it, whether this will come up in a different way. They may have voted this way because even the Senate parliamentarian said that this technically doesn't work into the guidelines of what is meant to go into the COVID aid bill using the procedure that Democrats are using. So they may have gone off just of the fact that the Senate parliamentarian didn't let this in. Let's just keep this out. That could have been one of their reasoning, but I'm not sure. I haven't spoken to the senators who voted no yet. But, as of right now, that's not in the package. But what is in the package is another direct payment of $1,400 stimulus check for one-time check, and also $300 a week unemployment insurance benefits. That's actually down $100 from what the House agreed on, but the White House and Senate Democrats agreed to the $300 number through September. They agreed on that, I believe, just today.
All right, so Votorama will continue as they continue to look at what to include in this. Is there anything that is a slam dunk to get in there? Is $1,400 that slam dunk? And as we continue to look at this, as they go through each and every one of these amendments, $1,400, is that the one thing that we do think will stick around?
I think so. I think that's the thing that I feel like both sides have been, agreed on. The most of the debate has been around the minimum wage, which is now behind us. It was on the unemployment insurance benefits, which now seems to be settled. There was some debate on the stimulus checks earlier in the week. That seems to be settled. So I think as far as what happens ahead, I don't think there'll be any dramatic changes to the bill. I think it's more so just some amendments that are going to be thrown out there on the Republican side of the aisle to delay or to just show what they want to see or what they believe should be in this package that they don't see in there right now. And whether or not that makes it in there would be require them both to work together and find a way to work it in. So I won't say it's not possible, but I think what you're seeing right now is what's going to end up on the finish line.
Why would there be a delay here? Why would politicians want to delay this?
Well, I think like what you saw last night, Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson had the Senate clerks read aloud the full 628-page COVID bill. They felt to let the American people know what's inside of it and what they feel is not a majority of dollars that will be going to the pandemic itself. They feel it's filled with things that aren't addressing the coronavirus pandemic. And to drag it out further, I think they just want to show why they aren't in support of this, because at the end of the day, they're going to have to vote yes or no on the American Rescue Package. And if they say no, then if their constituents just read the top line, they may not understand why they voted against COVID relief. And that's something I asked Senator Rubio this week, and he just said, this isn't a COVID bill. So that's where Republicans, or many of them, stand on this package. As of right now, it is a very partisan package, but there might be some Republicans who vote for it. We're still waiting for a few of them who are weighing their decision.
Is there anything right now, as far as amendment concerned, that you think is a deal breaker? Is there anything that's definitely going to get struck down? And to that end, is there anything that they could bring up that could put a finish to all of this?
I think they, in terms of the process, they pretty much are done when all the amendments, or as many as they propose, have been gone through. They went through all of them. So that's when this process is over, and then they can move on to the vote. That could be, if they tire of it. The last time they had a vote-a-rama, I think it went for 20 hours maybe. I think it started like at 3 p.m. on a Thursday, and it went till like almost 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. on a Friday, something like that. So you could see something like that. It depends. I mean, they might get tired and might want to just go home if they know the end result. We don't really know what amendments the Republicans or Democrats may propose within this vote-a-rama. A lot of Republicans are, teasing it and saying, wait and see, and we'll let you know when we go out there. So some things we just don't know yet. So stay tuned, and I'm watching C-SPAN to see what happens.
You always are watching C-SPAN if you
I
follow
love
Kelly on
C-SPAN.
Twitter. She's a fan. Very quickly, we bring up these terms vote-a-rama, and the last time we tried to pass a stimulus package, it was pork in the bill. As far as these procedures, and we're getting new names for it, maybe that are not Washington insiders like yourself, going to the pork in the bill and the additional things that have to go into something like this, it is very normal for there to be things attached to bills in order to get the passage across bipartisan, correct?
Yeah, and the process that Democrats are using this time around, I believe Republicans used when tax reform came up. It's a rare process, and generally they use it once a year because there are strict guidelines to what can go into it. And like we mentioned with the minimum wage, the Senate parliamentarian decides what can go into this package, and he struck that down. So, and they generally can't use this, I don't believe, more than once a session. But I'd have to double check on that. Correct me. But I think Republicans and Democrats on both sides have done both of these things and all of these things. It's just politics, and what you're going to see
There you go.
in vote-a-rama is going to be a lot of politics. It's going to be a lot of back and forth, a lot of gotcha moments. So maybe they could use it on a campaign commercial.
It is just politics. It is part of the game. Before we go, this is one thing that I think a lot of people who are watching on Facebook across the country are going to focus on. There is a sentiment in Washington that the $1,400 relief package, getting checks to people who need it because of this pandemic, will in fact pass over the next few days, possibly a week's time.
Yes. And I think that's the big thing, like you said, for people watching at home. And that's what I've been asking senators, when is this expected to go through? When can people expect relief? The big thing for them is getting this done before March 14th. That's when unemployment benefits, insurance benefits expire. So we'll be getting that in gear. And then what Senator Tim Kaine told me, and for those listening, this might be helpful, to keep an eye on to know when your next stimulus check is going to come, that $1,400 direct payment. Judge it off of how long it took maybe your last one. And I know IRS.gov has a website where you can track it as well. They did, tighten some of those income limits. So just check those to see if you are within that range, and then just maybe judge it off of how quickly your last one came.
Kelly Meyer, thank you so much. It's not only a marathon for politicians, for senators at Votorama, it's a marathon for you too, my friend. Thanks for taking the time.
Happy to. Thank you for having me.
Pace yourself, Kelly. It's going to be a long weekend.
I will.
Kelly Meyer reporting for us out of Washington, D.C. We encourage you to join us tonight for News Nation Early Edition with Nicole Burley. That starts at 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock Central. It's the start of our news cycle each and every day here at News Nation. From there, we'll go to the Donlin Report and the News Nation Prime, and end tonight with Ashley Banfield Show. Banfield. That's coming up again starting tonight. And if you don't know about News Nation, we're a brand new network. We encourage you to join us. We're not going to tell you how to think. That is not our goal. We're not going to lean you to the right or lean you to the left. We are unbiased, and that is our mission. We're going to stick to that. I am Aaron Nolan. Have a fantastic, finally, Friday afternoon. See you next time.